Well, as I have been watching some of the post-bait analysis, listening to some of it online, on radio, uh, even a lot of the conservative pundits are getting it wrong. Rush Limbaugh felt like he had to come out and explain everything that Trump did, and Trump was actually getting in his own way, and he should have let Biden implode, and he had a plan, but he failed to execute his plan correctly. And so basically, Rush is recovering the president's debate, and Rush, I'm sorry, you missed it on this one. You completely missed it. Dan Biangiano, he has it spot on. He's absolutely right. Trump wasn't trying to go into that debate last night to persuade anyone that's undecided to come on board. He went in there last night really to do two things, and I've already alluded to this in a previous monologue. He went in there, yes, to shore up the base and show him, I'm a fighter, I'm here. But what he really wanted to do was just expose the entire fallacy of these so-called polite debates and a little pretend back and forth when your choice is between two moderate marshmallows who are going to sell out our country, sell out our sovereignty, give away our freedom, hit us with restrictions and lockdowns and mandates because it's for the best and it keeps us safe. And it was President Trump who said, we're just not having any of that. And he went in there last night, and it was like Monday Night Smackdown. And I know some of you ladies, you don't like that. And that's because even within conservative media circles over the years, we have emasculated what we call toxic masculinity. So, we've got, I can't even call them males anymore. I look at some of these young, I guess their gender would make them male, but I look at the way they stand, the way they hold even like their cell phone, and the way they talk and act, and you just think, where are the men? That said, what we had on display in Donald Trump was a man. And what a great contrast that Joe Biden's out there now riding around the country on the little engine that could, on an Amtrak train, and that's how he's going to do his whistle stops, draw circles on the ground. People could stand in the circles and maybe ask him a question. And Donald Trump's out there in his big 747 Air Force One landing in airports and talking to 30,000 people. Last night was a beautiful contrast. It showed America a contrast between a leader and a puppet. Somebody who's got something to say and he's passionate about it and he's going to say it forcefully. And Biden came out and he wanted to do the best he could remember, his rehearsed teleprompter lines and script. And Trump was there the entire time to keep him off balance and smack Chris Wallace around a little bit, and that was bonus, and that was actually fun to watch. We're going to take some of the clips and we're going to look at them for what they are, because the president got some great shots in, but I'm focusing on 5 areas. First of all, when Joe Biden was trying to make this case that the president needs to let the people decide who's going to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Well, I'm sorry there, Joey. That may play for the liberal utopia land out there, but that's not how the Constitution works. The president, the duly elected president, it's one of his constitutionally given responsibilities is to name individuals to the Supreme Court. He serves for 4 years. His term is not up till January. It doesn't matter if people are voting right now. It doesn't matter. And the framers of our Constitution made no provision for that. He is within his constitutional right and authority to pick the successor. He has. I believe she'll be confirmed, and that's that. So then Chris Wallace, the one few times that he actually posed a real question to Joe Biden, sir, are you going to pack the courts? And Biden wouldn't answer.
Mr. Vice President, if Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to
a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
Like it or not, Joe Boy, the people did have a say. They had it 3 years ago, and this president hasn't finished out his term. And the reason you're not admitting that you'll pack the courts is because that's exactly what you're going to do. It's the same reason you won't release your list of potential nominees, because you know how radical it is. And the president kept hitting Joe all night long on, you're a radical, you're a socialist. And I said this in a previous monologue, that the president did that on purpose. And what he did was he actually pulled Biden away from the socialists, because Biden took the bait. He couldn't help it. You knew he was going to say, I beat Bernie Sanders. And President Trump was like, yeah, barely. I beat him handily. And he's like, nah, Pocahontas and stayed in the race. You wouldn't have won Super Tuesday. I mean, just getting, because, Biden, everybody talks about Trump being an egomaniac. Have you ever really listened to Joe Biden when he isn't saying, come on, man? If you listen to Joe Biden, even in the debate, everything that happened in the Obama administration, he did it. I was supposed to do this, and I did, and I did that, and I did. So basically, what, Obama was the window dressing, the black puppet, and you were the puppet master? Is that what you're saying, Joe? Are you saying that Obama was your puppet? He was your boy, and he was just there to smile and look good for the cameras, but you were the decision maker? You were the ones that made the Obama administration happen? Is that what you're saying, Joe? Ha, ha, ha. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like. You did everything. You did everything. You're not racist. Why? No, it was your crime bill that put disproportionately how many black people in jail? It was you, Joe Biden, when we want to, Chris Wallace bringing up again that false narrative about Charlottesville with Trump, but yet never calling out Joe Biden on, sir, back in the 70s, you said you didn't want your kids going to a school that was a racial jungle. Biden actually worked with former members of the Ku Klux Klan to get his non-busing legislation through. None of that got brought up. But, Trump, by constantly putting, you're going to be a radical, you're part of the Bernie Manifesto. I am not AOC, I am not the Green New Deal. And I said last night in my commentary, and I've been proven right, the Biden people obviously were working the phones all night long to keep the radicals with them. And the radicals are out today like AOC. We're going to bring Joe Biden along. Don't worry about what he has to say in a debate. But Trump landed a shot, and it was a hard one. And it rocked Joe that you are a socialist. No, I'm not. And he looked in that camera and he said the one thing that the socialist radicals in the Democratic Party didn't want to hear. Joe Biden said, I am mainstream Democrat.
I am the Democratic Party right now.
Have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland or the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this, bring in the National Guard, do whatever it takes, but you'd stop the days and months of violence in Portland?
I don't hold public office now. I am a former vice president.
Wait a minute. You're the face of the Democratic Party. Shouldn't you be out there with the message of peace? Let's maintain some law and order. But there again, Joe Biden sniping from the side what Trump ought to do with COVID, what Trump ought to do with bringing the country together so that we have peace. Well, what law enforcement agencies support you, Joe? Which ones?
He doesn't have any law support.
Look,
he has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
true.
Almost
that's
nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
No, think
All right.
Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported you.
I'm telling you, that's huge. And this is going to lead to the Trump landslide. I'm telling you, Trump is going to win New York. I know I'm the only one saying this. He's going to win California. I know what you're thinking. Pastor Marty, You've lost it. Now, I'm telling you, in New York City alone, 64,000 uniformed police officers. Multiply that by their wives and their extended family members. How many votes is that? Then add in all of New York State, all of the police, the deputies, the sheriffs, the state police, etc., etc., etc. And now spread that out across the country, over 600,000 men and women serving in law enforcement. And most will now vote for Donald J. Trump. This is huge. Mark it down. And Chris Wallace, though he kept acting like a kindergarten teacher, constantly scolding the president, never really scolding Joe Biden for all of his interruptions, he called the president a clown. And then today out there on one of his whistle stops, he said, "That was so unpresidential last night." Really? You calling the president a clown and telling him to shut up? That's presidential? Give me a break, you little twit. The only reason you're getting a pass from the media is they don't like Donald Trump and they know you've got dementia, Joe. But that's, again, I still say your wife, who's out there on this train tour with you, and the rest of your family ought to all be brought up on criminal charges for elder abuse. That they're propping you up on whatever it is they got to do, and then taking you out there and exploiting you like we would an underage prostitute. It's just unconscionable. That said, when Joe Biden said that, we got a president over, and that whole fake, he's going to act indignant that somehow Trump has defamed his dead son. And while, as a father, and I have a son in military, I understand, I have no doubt that Joe Biden loves his kids, but to somehow equate your dead son that Trump called fallen soldiers, losers, and etc. That whole story has been debunked. The editor that released it at what was it? Was it I can't remember now. The New Yorker? No, the Atlantic. At the Atlantic. He's backed off being able to, vouch for the credibility of the story. 20 people who were present in the room when the president so-called said that have all said it didn't happen. Even people who don't like the president, like Mad Dog Mattis, have kind of said, I don't ever remember the president saying anything disparaging like that about our fallen heroes or visiting, the military dead or the military wounded. And so the president decided to push back and say, hey, he can't get away with that. And push back the president did.
He made a statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
what
not
he
true.
did is he
You're done in
said
this segment.
he called the military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
and he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape.
that.
He said
Mr.
stupid bastards.
Please,
He
sir,
said it.
stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that.
Play
to the
it.
military.
Play it.
Well, be careful what you ask for, Joe, because we do have you on tape, and I am going to play it, of you calling soldiers stupid bastards.
I have incredibly good judgment. One, I married Jill. And two, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastards.
This is why the left, if they get into office, you better understand that shows like mine, platforms like YouTube, will be purged of all conservative voices and all archived footage, video, audio, etc., that in any way ever makes any of them look bad again. You better believe that's coming. I am encouraging you right now. If you have the capability and the ability, you need to start downloading as many videos and things that you see on there and archive and save them, because if Joe Biden gets elected, there is going to be an electronic purging of the truth. So, you've been warned. Now, the president's, though he had some great lines last night, I really love the one, I've done more in 47 months than you did in 47 years. His economy, what he can do for it, that's his reelection. And he has to remind the American people that Joe Biden, if he is elected, he will shut down the country completely again. He will. And that will kill the economy. It will absolutely kill it. England's talking about shutting theirs down again. The Prime Minister gave a warning. If you don't start social distancing and wearing masks, I'm going to shut the entire country down. Really? And at some point, we gotta. This is systemic of the emasculated country that we have become. We have been pushed, lied to, and shamed into wearing masks and all of this hogwash to further an agenda. And when somebody stands up and says, this isn't right and this is not how we're going to live, and by the way, coronavirus is a terrible thing, but at some point we have to put our big boy pants on and assume some risk and go out there and live our lives. This sounds so hard. This is why people are having a meltdown over how the president behaved on the debate, and even some in conservative media like Rush. You didn't have to apologize for a single thing that Donald Trump did last night. And I'll say this to you, Rush Limbaugh, shame on you for your opening monologue today. Shame on you. We need to be taking a victory lap. And I know the pundits are giving Biden plenty of cover that there may not be another debate. Fine. Then we can just brand him for the chicken and the coward that he is. I know you wanted the president to back off a little bit and let Biden have one of his famous little meltdowns. And I know you think that the president got in the way of that, but I'm telling you, if Biden had begun to falter, I think we all know Chris Wallace would have jumped in and bailed Biden out. He wouldn't have let Biden implode on national television. Wouldn't happen. So kudos to the president for understanding that. He sees the 4D chess move here. It was an awesome. Mr. Limbaugh, please modify your monologue tomorrow. Get on board here. You're going to miss the Trump train, which is actually the Trump jet. Let Joey ride around in a choo-choo train. He's in a choo-choo train right now. He's campaigning on a choo-choo train. Woo-woo, choo-choo, vote for JoJo. Gee, you can't make this stuff up, because last night we saw you talk about a visual of the complete difference that you will have. And by the way, Joe Biden saying we're going to shut down the country, what he's really saying is you would rather be safe than have liberty. You would rather have us, the socialists, take care of you than you have to go out there in this scary world and we're going to make everything even and fair. That's what Joe Biden means. So the president talking about what that shutdown would mean, it was outstanding, and I'm going to end my monologue with the President of the United States.
The economy is, I think it's fair to say, recovering faster than expected from the shutdown.
Much faster.
In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now. Instead of still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people, between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening at some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, when you look, and these governors are under siege, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others, you got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost, it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.